How many New Yorkers in this room can put a name to this face? This man is in charge of managing $77 billion, but no, he doesn't work for a corporation. Scott Stringer is an elected official who oversees all of local government spending, and he works for all of us. But in 2014, over 70% of New Yorkers decided not to come out and vote for who would hold this important position. Our hypothesis was young people were among the least likely to turn out and vote.
So last November, during local elections full of hope and smiles, we took the 4th train up to the Bronx to see for ourselves. But what we found was shocking. Polling places were deserted. And even though we were a block away from a college with over 11,000 students, we couldn't find a person under 40. Through our research, we have found that organizations focus on getting young people to participate in 2 different ways. Some of them focus on inspiration, using communication campaigns like Rock the Vote, which are relatable and pretty cool, but with little lasting success. Others focus on the more technical aspects of voting, holding voter registration campaigns and driving polling information to instruct young people into action. These organizations fail because they are not transforming the mindset of young voters to catalyze into participating. We are currently facing the lowest voter turnout in over 72 years. There must be something missing.
Through a series of in-depth interviews and prototypes, we began to understand why young people couldn't be instructed or inspired to vote, that maybe they had other things on their mind. Take Ray. He feels overwhelmed. He's juggling the new responsibilities of adulthood, which causes him to ignore things that feel too complex and irrelevant. He feels powerless. He works as a janitor at the Bronx Zoo after barely graduating from high school and feels let down by the education system. And he's disconnected. He overlooks how the services he uses every single day are impacted by local government. So knowing this, Manolo and I began to wonder, how can we help Ray move from here to here, when we know that action and inspiration have not been enough? To begin, we asked a simple question.
What do you care about? So instead of talking about elections, we wanted to change the conversation to see what would happen. We went back up to the Bronx and we reframed an upcoming district attorney election to be about the criminal justice system. With this reframe, we heard young people talk passionately about the problems within the court system and what they wanted to see changed. Things like better customer service or more trustworthy police. But still, they didn't connect how these issues relate to local elections, which led us to realize that low voter turnout is only a symptom of a larger problem. It's not about voting. We can't focus on inspiring people to vote when they don't understand how local policy relates to their personal experiences. And from our research, we found that this is definitely not a straight line. Before we can ask these young people to participate, they must make a connection to what they care about and develop the skills to untangle how those issues relate to local government.
While we were detangling this issue on our own, we met Yesenia. She works as an internship coordinator at an accelerated night school high school program where she's been running voter registration campaigns, but with very little results. Maybe it's because the students we met are in the state of limbo. They see themselves as adults, but want to be treated that way, but they're stuck trying to finish their high school degree. And most importantly, they all share the same feelings as Ray. With Yesenia's students, we designed a series of workshops. We took an iterative approach, allowing each session to inform the next, and developed and tested different sets of icebreakers, group discussions, and individual reflections, each which attempted to move the conversation away from voting and candidates towards issues that these students actually cared about. By the end of the third workshop, we had students actively debating real policy solutions that they had identified in their communities. And the energy in the room was contagious. One staff member was even excited enough to take our workshop materials to create a debate for his students the following week.
So taking what we learned from the streets in the Bronx to this classroom, we funneled our process to identify three main learnings. Issues need to be identified by young people. They only figure out what they care about by reflecting on their own experiences. Students should drive conversations because they build on each other's ideas, using dialogue and debate to fill gaps and create larger connections. Staff support is key because as students transform over time, staff members need tools to keep the meaningful conversations happening. So with these three main insights in mind, we have designed You Are Here, an inside-out approach to develop active citizens.
Using this approach, staff members can begin to build bridges between a student's feelings of disconnection and move towards more sustained participation. Students are able to work together through a series of dialogues and debates to connect their personal experiences to the well-being of their communities. The approach works in 3 steps. Who are you? Students are asked to develop a sense of identity through which they begin to take ownership of their values. Connecting the dots. Students become familiar with key democratic processes which help them to understand their community in new ways. And finally, you are here. Students are able to identify their shared values between themselves and their decision makers to help them realize that democracy cannot work unless they do.
Reflecting on our experiences within the YABC, You Are Here has been designed as a modular approach rather than an extensive curriculum. It fits into any youth development program because it works as a roadmap, giving staff members a place to start. Interested programs can access You Are Here online, which includes an activity library and a set of facilitation principles, helping staff to design these conversations.
We have successfully piloted this approach with 35 students, but it's only the beginning. You Are Here provides a framework for transforming apathetic students into active citizens. Imagine how different our cities would look when they are full of empowered, connected, and engaged young voters confidently going out to ballot boxes knowing who is responsible for their communities. Democracy starts and ends at a local level. It starts with you. It starts with caring about what goes on in your neighborhood, knowing who runs your district, and understanding how our boroughs work together to contribute to the well-being of our city. You Are Here is our attempt to transform that conversation from the inside out. Thank you.
Thank you.